there's nothing like spending a Sunday evening hitting up YouTube and watching old episodes of Mystery Science Theater. It's just, I'm in such a happy mood right now because I love that show so much. It's great. But, I did want to knock this video out of the way. And for all the good that the WWE is doing right now, and their product is massively improved, especially with this whole Daniel Bryan storyline, I look forward to seeing where they go with that. For right now, they definitely have my attention, and they're doing really well. I thought SummerSlam was really good. I thought the Raw after SummerSlam was really good. And I'm overall happy with the WWE product. But I'm because I have to be negative. I just have to. And I really do want to make this point again. And I've said it before. I'm of the belief that the World Heavyweight title should be done away with. I think there's no reason to have two world champions, especially now that the brand split is over. And yes, the brand split pretty much is over at this point. There's no separate rosters or anything like that. Everybody just shows up on the same show anyway. So, the entire brand extension thing, that's pretty much been done away with. They're all in the same pay-per-views too. And I've heard that they've even kind of done away with brand house shows. I don't know how accurate. If anybody wants to tell me, just go ahead and post here. Because last I heard, they had done away with brand exclusive house show tours. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were true either. But I didn't like it when they did it during the brand extension. But I understood it, and at least it's like, well, it's two different rosters and two different shows, two different brands. You could look at it that way, and all right, there's some justification for it. But now that that's done away with, to me, the world title should be sent packing. There's no reason to have that championship around anymore. And I've made this point before, but I want to go into more detail with this video because fuck it. That's why. What else have I got to do besides watching Mystery Science Theater all day? Basically, to me, a world heavyweight champion or a world champion in any sport should be the designation of the best. Like, there should be no controversy on who the best is. Whoever the Super Bowl champion is, whoever the World Series champion is, whoever's the UFC heavyweight champion, whatever, going to any sport, whoever's the gold medal winner, that is the best in that competition without any kind of controversy or any, without dispute, basically. That person holding that title is, or that team, the Super Bowl and World Series, those teams and those people, those are the best at that sport. And I believe in the designation for that. I mean, that's the driving force of competition, is to be the very best at what you do. And to win championships, to designate that you are the best at what you do. And even though wrestling is fictional, it should have that same appeal to it, where people are striving to be the best at what they do. And I feel having two world champions around, kind of dilutes that. How can you say that the WWE champion is the best in the company when you've got some other schmuck running around with a World Heavyweight Championship belt? It makes no sense to me. And when CM Punk was doing his long-ass title reign, what was that, over 400 days or whatever, to me, that character would not settle to share the title of World Heavyweight Champion with anybody else. And I was a little surprised they never really brought that up. I do remember they did do one bit where he looked down on the world champion and said that that's the kiddie belt and mine's the real belt or whatever. And yeah, I would expect CM Punk to say that, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, you say that, but there's no, it's a controversy that needs to be addressed, and they never do, and you just kind of have, you don't really have a clear-cut number one. You have 1A and 1B, and that to me isn't good enough. You don't have a Super Bowl and I guess a Mega Bowl or something like that. You don't walk away with two NFL champions, or the season doesn't stop at the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. You need one clear-cut champion to determine who the best is. That's one of the reasons that college football drives me nuts, is because, all right, it feels like there's 800 bowl games, and it's like, all right, which ones actually matter? Can anybody tell me? I don't know. The only thing I watch college football for is to see, basically scouting, say, all right, which of these kids are going to be in the NFL? Let's see. But other than that, the whole bowl game post-season system just drives me nuts with college football. And I feel like the WWE, it kind of dilutes the meaning and takes away from the meaning of being World Heavyweight Champion, especially since it's twice as easy to get one. That's another thing. By having 2 World Championships defended at separate times, without addressing the controversy of who the true World Champion is, it becomes twice as easy to get one, and the characters and the athletes in the storyline, they get twice as many opportunities to get one. And this is especially true now that there are no brand restrictions. Anybody can go for any world title now. There is no Raw belt or SmackDown belt, and there is no Raw roster or SmackDown roster. So if you fuck up getting the WWE title, it's okay. You can just go for the world title. If you don't win the Royal Rumble, you can still be in a WrestleMania world title match. You just gotta, become number 1 contender to the World Heavyweight title. And that to me makes it mean less when somebody wins one. And this is especially true for the World Heavyweight title because everybody clearly looks at that as the secondary belt of the 2 World Championships. The WWE title is the real World Championship in the company. That's the one that has the history going all the way back to the beginning of the promotion. Whereas the World Heavyweight title, they can say it's the belt that Flair held, but it's really something that they cooked up in 2002. That's the lineage of that belt, and I've made that point before. So it doesn't quite have the same significance or lineage behind it that the WWE Championship does. But it's still a World Heavyweight Championship, even if it is basically just a glorified mid-card title. Again, even with the clear-cut status that the WWE title is the main championship, the fact that this other World Heavyweight title exists, to me, just takes away from what it means to be a world champion. To me, belts in general should be protected. And you look at the way the WWE is handling all their championships now, the tag division has gotten a lot better because there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of teams between, let's see, there's the Shield, the Wyatts, you got this Primo and Epico coming back as these, matadors or whatever. You've got the Usos, who I really like, the Primetime Players, Real Americans, I'm sure there's more. And you got Mark Henry and Big Show for the time being. I just came up with 7 teams off the top of my head that they're currently promoting. So they've got a pretty deep tag team division at the moment. 3MB as well, so that's 8. They're pretty well stacked in the tag team division. Divas division is better than it was, especially since they've been focusing on AJ. And since she's the more clearly defined character in the division, it's good that they focus on her. But really where they're struggling, is the heavyweight championship situation. Between, not only do you have the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title and that whole confusion of having 2 world champions, but you've got the IC and the US titles, which get pushed back because of the existence of the World Heavyweight title. People wonder why the IC title doesn't mean anything. It's because they're doing a lot of the things with the world title that they should be doing with the IC title and making that like the clear-cut secondary championship. And the Intercontinental title is a clearly recognized mid-card championship. So that's okay. But the World Heavyweight title, which they constantly promote as, the belt that Flair held and it's meant to be a significant main event belt, even if they don't always treat it like it is. So again, it just leads to this controversy that needs to be addressed. And I've said it a million times. If I was on the WWE creative team, first thing I would do, I'd be like, okay, this World Heavyweight title situation, this double World Championship set that you have, this bullshit ends now. We need to put a stop to this. We need to have one clearly defined World Heavyweight Champion, especially now that the brand split is gone. There's no reason for that belt to exist. And I would be fully in favor of doing a unification match at some point soon and just going ahead and taking care of that right now. Some people have speculated that the rumored Punk and Bryan match at WrestleMania 30, which I think is very likely, there's been talk of making that a unification match, which that would be interesting. Plus, do the unification match just to, pop up a big buy. I remember when UFC did it with Lesnar, and I think it was when Lesnar was sick and he couldn't defend the title, so they had the interim World Heavyweight Championship. And, Lesnar comes back and he's the true world champion. So you have a controversy that needs to be settled. Who's the true world champion? Do the unification fight. There you go. The UFC wouldn't have 2 guys running around claiming to be World Heavyweight Champion for very long. They realize that that's something that needs to be addressed. It's a controversy. And, to me, having 2 world titles, it just sort of divides the wealth in a way that takes away from what it means to be a champion. I do feel that being a world champion in the world of professional wrestling, it's something that should be protected. It's something that should be presented as something that's very hard to do. And having 2 of them, to me, really takes away from that. And that's my big thing. Winning a world title should be very, very hard. And so often it feels so freaking easy to get one, especially with Money in the Bank, and especially with the fact that the world heavyweight title is treated like a mid-card belt, so it changes hands more frequently. It really didn't feel like that big of a deal when Ziggler won it, for many of the reasons that I just stated. And I love Dolph Ziggler. I've been on the Ziggler bandwagon since 2009. I'm a huge Dolph Ziggler guy, and my attitude towards it was, well, if this belt has to exist, at least put it on somebody I like. But even then, it's kind of like it's like he won. It's like he didn't win the real world title. So you have this belt that nobody recognizes as. And that's within the company itself and the fans. Nobody recognizes this title as being the main world title, but it's still a world title, so that to me takes away from the real world title, which is the WWE title. And I'm really confusing myself just explaining this. But, to me it's just really messy and doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And whenever I try to explain to non-fans who the world champion is, and I have to tell them that there are 2 world champions, they just give me this quizzical look, like, that makes no sense. And I'm like, you're right, sirs. It does not make any sense at all. So I hope this is something that the WWE, with all the improvements that they've been making lately, I would hope that maybe it's in the works to get rid of the world title and ultimately, move on and go back to having the WWE title as the main championship. Because the world heavyweight title isn't really... like I said, a lot of the things they do with that belt, they could just as easily do with the IC title. It would be a strong mid-card title. And that's another one I would not mind if they got rid of the US title. Again, do a unification match, IC and US title, and walk out with one true mid-card champion. I would keep the IC title because that one has more history within the company. But, yeah, it's just, something I wish they would pay attention to more and ultimately fix. Again, with all the improvements that they've been making lately, I hope that's something that's on their checklist sometime soon, because I'm really sick of having that belt around. Especially when you look at what happened on Raw this week. This angle that they're doing with Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton and the McMahons and everything is really good so far, and I'm really interested in seeing where they go with it, how it builds up into the future, etc., etc. The World Heavyweight title, it seems like, the feud with Alberto and Christian was one where it's just kind of like, let's just throw it together because both guys are in limbo. And then on Raw this week, Rob Van Dam just randomly gets put into the world title situation because we don't know what else to do. And Ricardo is his manager now, or his announcer now, and that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And, for all the good thought that's gone into the Daniel Bryan storyline with the WWE title, it's the exact opposite with the world title, where it just feels like they're just throwing together whatever random title match they can create for the upcoming pay-per-view, and that's really a shame. But hopefully they fix that soon, and that's all I've got for now. And again, quick reminder, if you want to send in questions for the Q&A video, go ahead and do that now. I'm going to try and knock that out next week, so be sure to send me your questions. Again, just private message me here on YouTube, label it Q&A or question and answers in the subject, so I know what you're talking about, and I will get to work on that next week. And so be on the lookout for that, and enjoy, everybody.